I want to take a moment to speak directly to your heart today. I'm not sharing this to be applauded or admired, but to remind you of something that too many of us forget as we navigate through life. This message is for the one who feels unseen, for the one who has felt the sting of betrayal, for the one standing at a crossroads, unsure if they have the strength to keep going. I'm not here to sugarcoat the truth or offer empty platitudes. No, I'm here to remind you of something deep, something undeniable, something eternal. You are not a second option. You are the one. In my life, I've seen both the highest highs and lowest lows. I've been at the top of the mountain and I've been knocked down to the valley floor. There were moments when I thought the people who loved me had abandoned me. Moments when I couldn't see a way forward. But it was in those very moments that I discovered a truth that transformed my life. You see, I'm not speaking from theory. I'm speaking from personal lived experiences. I know what it feels like to pour your heart and soul out into something, only to be met with indifference or worse, betrayal. I know what it feels like to be counted out, to have people turn their backs on you when you need them the most. And let me tell you, it's in those moments when your faith is truly tested. Faith that is untested is not faith at all. I call it ego. But here's the powerful truth I need you to understand. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. Your value isn't tied to the approval of others. It is rooted into something far deeper, something unshakable, something that no human hand can take away from you. I made that realization in the darkest moments of my life. There were times when my name was dragged through the mud by the very people I was trying to help. Politicians who were supposed to stand for justice turned their backs on me, using their influence to tarnish my character. Or so-called community leaders who relish spewing hate in backdoor conversations, not knowing those same people whose loose-lipped and information got back to me. It hurt. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't. But in that pain, I found strength. I found clarity. I found purpose. The next 2 years of removing myself from those associations and environments that did not nourish my soul would make room for my own character development. Sometimes you're a problem too. If you knew the old me, you know I have the ability to torch a situation without feelings or remorse. I could be cold and hold on to grudges to seek vengeance over time. I still got it in me though. Don't get it twisted. One of the many reasons I set a daily 5:30 alarm and devotion reminder to manage the monster that I know I can be. It wasn't easy. I had to learn the hard way that not everyone who walks with you is meant to stay with you. Some people leave when the road gets rough, and that's okay. Let them go. Because what I discovered is that God doesn't need a crowd to fulfill his promise in your life. He just needs your obedience. He needs your yes. Obedience is unlike incarceration. It's necessary to build discipline that is needed to become stronger spiritually. Life will test you. Back in 2015, I was sitting alone in my apartment in Houston, less than a half a mile from the Galleria Mall, when I made the decision that changed my life forever. I said yes. It wasn't a loud declaration. There was no fanfare, no spotlight. It was a quiet, simple agreement between me and him. I didn't know what the future would hold, but I knew that God's track record in my life is unmatched. I knew that if I trusted in him, he wouldn't fail me. So I left the comfortable life I was building in Houston for the unknown in Oklahoma City. And let me tell you, that yes has carried me through the storms. I was reminded of a story about buffaloes and cows. Have you heard it? Cows, sensing a storm's arrival, grow anxious. Fear grips their hearts. They move to another. We must flee. The storm will overtake us, and we cannot endure it. So they turn their backs to the approaching storm and begin to run. But the faster they ran, the more the storm gained on them. It enveloped them, and they found themselves caught, battered by the winds, soaked by the rain, unable to escape. Yet in the same field, the buffalo stood firm. They too saw the dark clouds forming, but they did not tremble in fear. They gathered together, looked toward the storm, and with great resolve, they began to move step by step, straight into its heart. The storm came upon them, fierce and unyielding, but the buffaloes pressed on. With each step, they moved through the storm until in time they emerged on the other side. There, beyond the clouds, the sun shone once more and the skies were clear. The buffaloes teach us another way, a way of courage, a way of perseverance. It is the way of facing our storms with dignity and determination, knowing that through the winds, they may be fierce, and the rain may beat down upon us. We are moving toward the light. For every storm must pass. Every storm is temporary. It is in our steadfastness, our willingness to face the trials of life head on, that we find our strength, our freedom, and our peace. This journey hasn't been easy. In fact, it's been downright hard at times. But that's what happens when you say yes to your purpose. It's a commitment to carry your cross, to walk the narrow path, to stand firm when the winds of opposition try to knock you off course. It's a commitment to believe in the promise, even when all evidence points to the contrary. There are a few days when I felt like I was standing alone, but even then, God was with me. I'm reminded of his words in Deuteronomy 31:8. The Lord goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. That verse is an anchor. I can recall Miss May, my grandmother's dear friend and neighbor in Duncan, Oklahoma, singing, "He's a shelter in a time of storm." Because here's the thing. God doesn't abandon his people. He doesn't give up on you just because others do. People may turn their backs, but God is always standing beside you, leading you, guiding you, protecting you. And sometimes the people who walk away are making room for the greater blessings God is about to bring into your life. I realize that my validation doesn't come from people. It comes from the one who created me. It comes from the God who whispered into my spirit, "I got you, son." And I want to remind you today that God is a waymaker. He got you too, daughter. You don't need to compromise who you are to fit into someone else's box. You don't need to water down your identity to be accepted by those who truly see your worth. Your power comes from your authenticity, from standing firm in who you are, and from walking boldly in the purpose that has been set before you. It took me time to fully grasp that. I made mistakes along the way. I allowed myself to put my trust in people who didn't have my best interest at heart. I let my self-worth be tied to the opinions of others who didn't even know my heart. But God, oh God, he's a redeemer. He's a restorer. And when I turned my back to him again and reminded me that my value isn't found in human applause. It's found in his approval. That's why I say to you today, don't let society convince you that you're anything less than the masterpiece God created you to be. You are not a second option. You are the one. And here's the beauty of it all. When you stand firm in your yes to God, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop the blessings he has for you. No lie, no betrayal, no rejection can keep you from accessing the promises he's laid out for you. All you have to do is keep walking, keep trusting, and keep believing. I want to encourage you today. If you're in that place of doubt, if you feel like the weight of the world is pressing down on you, if you're questioning whether you have what it takes, know this: you do. God has equipped you with everything you need to fulfill your purpose. Stop procrastinating. Are you waiting for some miracle sign to get started? Here it is. Get started. The road may be hard, but you are stronger than you think. On the road, character is defined and wisdom is built for the purpose of preparing you for the unlimited promises waiting for you due to your persistent obedience. God is not asking you to be perfect. He wants you to show up every day with a willing heart to serve your community with him in mind. He will do these things through you and for you. Don't give up. Don't settle. Don't let society's rejection make you question your value. You are the one, and your story is far from over. So, stand firm in your yes. Trust that God's promise for your life will never fail. Because with him by your side, you can face any storm, overcome any obstacle, and walk boldly into the future he has prepared for you. And remember, God's track record is unmatched, and his promises never fails. Thank you for joining the Bigger Than Food podcast. We hope you found inspiration in stories shared today. Remember, it's the courage to take action that drives real change in the world. Be sure to subscribe to the Bigger Than Food podcast for more conversations with movers and shakers who are shaping our tomorrow. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing,